reporting that two senior leaders of the ACDP, Reverend Kenneth Meshoe and his deputy Steve Swart, have both tested positive for the coronavirus. Well, let's get you some reaction now on that announcement from Reverend Meshoe about his positive test, as well as that of Steve Swart. Well, the ANC's Jessie Duarte joins us now on the line. She's the Deputy Secretary General of the African National Congress. Thanks so much for joining us on the program, Ms. Duarte. I guess when we heard the story about Reverend Meshoe and his deputy Steve Swart testing positive, it's getting closer and closer to home, as these are people that your party works with in Parliament.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you very much, Peter. We were concerned, and also because, as you know, the President was at a meeting with the good Reverend, but the President has tested negative, and we're very grateful for that. But nevertheless, we pray for Reverend Meshoe and for his colleagues, and hope they will be all right. This is not an easy time. We've been monitoring as much as we can today, various areas, asking MPs and councillors and MPLs to call in to tell us what they're finding. And it's quite right. There is a bit of panic buying going on. People are worried that they're going to run out of food. People were paid yesterday and are buying monthly groceries. And I think that hopefully this will die down, and we will see people as of tomorrow adhering to the rules. Another issue that has come to our attention is that in some areas, Reicha Park, Mitchell's Plain, El Dorado Park, Alexandra Township, and areas in other parts of the country, people are simply milling around as if it was a holiday. And we're appealing to everybody, irrespective of where you live and who you are. This virus has no respect for anyone. It doesn't matter who you are or where you live. It has been shown to kill young people in Italy and Spain, young as 17 and 16-year-olds. It is not an old people's disease. You can get very ill, and we are asking people to keep a distance. We know that what happens at the shopping malls is that people are huddling close together because they don't want to lose their space in the line. But at least try to keep a meter or so distance between yourself and the person in front and behind you.
All right.
We're hoping that by Sunday we will see the lockdown taking full shape. And we've called on all our councillors, MPs and MPLs, because they can assist and monitor people to do so wherever they may be. We must explain things to people. One thing we've been concerned about is the number of people we've been told who say they don't know about the regulations. And yet I know that SABC and other stations have been covering it very widely, but it seems as if we're still not reaching everybody.
All right. Thankfully, the President has tested negative for the coronavirus, but I'm just wondering, are there concerns for other members of your party that might have been in contact with Reverend Meshoe over the past few days and weeks?
Not anyone else we know of. The only person that's been in self-isolation is the Minister of Foreign Affairs, because a member of her staff had tested positive. So a number of people in her private office were then self-isolated. I've spoken to her a few days ago. She sounds fine. I think she's going to be all right. So we haven't had, and we are keeping in close contact with everyone. We haven't had any further reports from any of our party members.
All right, Ms. Duarte, thanks very much indeed for talking to us. That's the Deputy Secretary General of the African National Congress, Jessie Duarte. Well, let's talk now to the United Democratic Movement's Bantu Holomisa. General, thanks very much indeed for joining us. I would imagine that this news of Reverend Meshoe and his deputy is of a concern to you as it is to all citizens.
Yes, it is, and we wish them speedy recovery. And I was just passing Bloemfontein when I heard the news going home. I was meant to go to Stegspruit for funeral tomorrow and then proceed to Mthatha. But in light of what I've just heard, since we were together with him in a meeting 2 weeks ago at 10 days, I think I must go straight and do test first thing tomorrow morning and not attend the funeral.
So there must have been a number of you at this meeting in Teinhays. Have you been talking to each other about this finding today, or you've just taken it upon yourself?
Well, firstly, when I heard that he was doing a test on Wednesday, I did go and see my doctor in Pretoria, and he didn't see anything. But in light of the test results now, I think I must do a formal test completely.
All right. And how are you feeling? Any symptoms of any kind? Nothing at this stage?
Not at all.
All right. And I would imagine that there are people around you that you're close to all the time. Is this something that you'll be discussing with them as well?
Well, obviously, if they are doing a test, there might be a form which you must fill and try and recollect who did you meet and so on and when. So it's going to be a tedious exercise, I guess.
All right. One of the things that we're seeing on this first day of the lockdown is that not all citizens are complying. I'm just wondering, from your view as a political leader, what can be done to get the message across? The news outlets have done as much as they can. Is there a role for people within communities to phone each other and spread this message?
I think we should be fair to the South Africans. As I'm driving here towards Eastern Cape, I see that the people have listened to the call. There are no cars on the road. And in town, in Johannesburg, when I passed through there, it was empty as well in the highways. So at least we should credit people for having responded to the call. However, we must also expect that there are those who will still take chances. But this is the first day. So the ministers responsible or the government spokesperson must continue to make a noise in the radio and TV. But I don't think we should be in despair.
Okay. All right, we'll leave it there. Thanks very much indeed. That's the leader of the United Democratic Movement, General Bantu Holomisa, saying that because he came into contact with Reverend Meshoe of the ACDP, who has tested positive now, he's decided that he's going to self-quarantine and get some tests just in case as a make sure. All right, as I said,